You've been to Jesus for the cleansing power. Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you fully trusting in His grace this hour? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you washed in the blood? In the blood, in the soul cleansing blood of the Lamb. Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you walking daily by the Savior's side? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Do you rest each moment?
Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of it.
Listeners, we are here this morning to welcome you from the night. For those whom we are sharing the time zone, I know there are some other countries that we are not experiencing the same time zone, and we find that for them maybe they have just gone to sleep. But for those whom we are sharing time zone, now it is already morning, and now it is 6 and other minutes past 8. So I can say good morning to you all. And may God bless you as you are going to watch our series as usual. And my name is Vian Aishakie, and you can see it on the screen. And we are going to share our topic discussion today. And as it has been, we are going to continue with our previous presentation because last time we stopped on the way, and we are going to continue until we finish its entire presentation. We are going to continue with the beast, or with the prophets of the 4 beasts, and today we are going to see the second beast, which is bear. You read in the book of Daniel chapter 7 from verse 1. Then when you go to Daniel chapter 2, you'll see that on that very image, you'll see that we are in the chest. So in Daniel book 2, it is a chest. So when you reach in Daniel book 7, you find that it is a bear with 3 ribs in its mouth. So when you reach in Daniel chapter 8, you find that it is, you can already see on our screen that it is bear. On the screen you can see that it is a bear that is having 3 ribs in its mouth. So when we reach there, we shall come to see what we are all the ribs representing. And chapter 8 of Daniel, for those who like reading further, you'll find that it is a ram. So it is. We shall also reach there. So now we have added Daniel chapter 8. We have been discussing Daniel chapter 2, chapter 7, but now we are going to include Daniel chapter 8 in our presentation of today. As if this preamble or introduction is enough, let's humble ourselves for the word of prayer, then we continue our discussion. Our dear loving and merciful Father in heaven, we appreciate you for the gift of life you've extended to us, and we are here live. Let your name be glorified. We have come here to discuss your word, but our minds are very weak to fathom and understanding it. That's why we come here before you, asking you to send us your Holy Spirit so that we can understand what we are going to discuss. Bless the viewers and bless each of us all. This is our humble prayer in Jesus' name we've prayed. Amen. So today, for those who are watching us, you are seeing on our screen that we are having the bear that is having 3 ribs in its mouth, or in her mouth, if you can call it like that. And this bear you are seeing, and now, and for those who still watch us, you are seeing that that is Daniel chapter 8. For those who are seeing us, who are seeing the screen, then in Daniel chapter 8, we are seeing there a he-goat and a lamb. So as if they were engaging in a fight, or in a fist fight even. That is not even a simple fight. It is a fist fight, the serious one. So also we are going to dwell there. Then for those who have been watching us from where we started, we see that King Nebuchadnezzar in chapter 2, he dreamed a dream, and he failed to get interpretation thereof. After failing to get interpretation, they called Daniel, who was there in it. And you remember that Daniel was among of the captives they got from Jerusalem, or in the Jews. And at this moment, when the King Nebuchadnezzar was dreaming, or he got that dream, Daniel and his associates were there in the land of Babylon. So he failed to get understanding of what he dreamed about. They had to call him Sudaiko witches, and whoever they believed that he could interpret that terrible dream of King Nebuchadnezzar. Still, they failed. After them failing, they had to intervene a man of God called Daniel. So he explained about it. For those who have been following us, you were able to know where it all started. Then they ended up telling him, Daniel ended up telling him that the head of the god they saw, he was the man himself. And later on they told him in the verses, if you read chapter 2 and you finish it, that after him there will come another kingdom that will replace him. So the kingdom that replaced him, it is the one that we are going to discuss today. That was in chapter 2. It is signifying the chest. But when you reach in chapter 7 of the same book of Daniel, it is talking about a bear with 3 ribs in its mouth. But when you reach in Daniel chapter 8, it is talking about a lamb and he-goat. So the he-goat, we shall get explanations because they are there. Bible is not confusing as many people say, and the one who authored it, who is God, is not author of a confuser. So everything is intact, and be rest assured that at the end of this presentation, you will come to understand what they all mean. And for those who have been with us still, we said that the beast, now they are kingdoms. This theory is not new. It has been like that, and it is written in the Bible. So we are no longer dealing with the physical beast, as many say. They are kingdoms. Now, this kingdom we are going in now, we are going to discuss today, is a kingdom of Medo-Persia. There are 2 countries. One is Medes, another one is Persia. So the Persia, or that very kingdom, now currently it is country of Iran. For those who like the history and the politics of the nations, it is currently Iran. So that is the kingdom we are going to discuss today. So for those who were with us still last time, you watched like a video where it started even from Beast 1, and that video was portraying the very beast, the way how they are succeeding each other. And they say that, where our concern is going to be much, it is in the second beast, or it is in that beast that was having 3 ribs in its mouth. And 3 ribs, for those who like following and who like going deep in prophecy, there are 3 countries that king of Medo-Persia, they annexed or they colonized when they are coming in. As you know, when sometimes back, even not sometimes back, you find that even there are some countries that are extending their borders and they keep on getting other countries. If you can now see what is currently taking place in Russia and Ukraine, you find that Russia doesn't want the Ukraine to go in NATO. I may not go all that far, but Russia started even taking Crimea land. That is a history I may not go in. So even likewise, it has been like that custom for other countries to get more or to add in its land. So now, this Medo-Persia kingdom, it is started in the year 539. Other history reads it as 538. So it had two kings, as we said, it is Medo-Persia. It had two kings. One was Darius, and another one was Cyrus. So these are the two kings. That's why I say it is Medo-Persia, or Medes and Persia. So these kings, they ruled together, but thereafter we see other kings succeeding them in the same lineage, as we saw it last time with the king Nebuchadnezzar, that he was succeeded by his son, even his grandson, who was Belshazzar in chapter 5. So where even Medo-Persia came and took it over. So we see that under the kings of Medo-Persia, we have Cyrus the Great, we have the Columbus, we have the Darius I, we have Xerxes I, we have Darius II, we have Artaxerxes, and we have Ahasuerus. Due for the interest of time, however much we are not finishing now, but we cannot get enough time to discuss all these kings and the period of time they ruled. But those were the kings of Medo-Persia, and the last one was Ahasuerus. For those who will go on and continue reading, you will find that even in chapter 4 of book of Esther, it's where you find all that story, where you find that the Jews who were scattered in the land of Medo-Persia, even though there are very many, and they desired to go back in their home. So it was very hard for them to do so. That's why even the Queen Esther, they went and before the king Ahasuerus to request him to extend favor to the Jews. You read that story, and I know most of all you read. So by that very time, there was a king called Ahasuerus. Yeah, you read it there. That is how it is saying. And by that very time, it was extending from India up to Ethiopia here, in horns of Africa. So the country was big, and it was 120 countries. That's how it's reading. So you find that the president was one from there up to Ethiopia here. That is the story that is reading. Before we go on and reading, we can first check back the other video that was on the screen last time, so that it can give us the best alternative to go, and thereafter we go in our readings as normal. But after
Said thus to it, Arise.
See on our screen that that is already bare, and it all started from down where we see, and as you can see, there are four beasts now. But it started from leopard. Then after leopard, we see it was a terrible dream. It was a terrible dream for Nebuchadnezzar, and from there we see the beast that is coming up. It is having 10 horns. That is also, we shall also come to it, but we are using it so that it can help the viewers to see how far we have come and how far we have gone, and it's where we are heading. So the beast 4, they say that it was dreadful. It was different from the other, and it had 10 horns, and 3 horns were plucked off, and another 1 horn succeeded it. So that small horn It's where we shall conclude our discussion from, but not today, but we wanted to tell you all where it came from, that even it had a mouth like that of a human being, and even it started speaking the blasphemy things. When it take of the blasphemy things, it was about against the God of heaven. Blaspheming God is not abusing God. So that God is foolish. God cannot be foolish, and you will know. So when they are talking of the blaspheming God, is a authority or a respect or a reverence of the God that is being given to a human being. That is abusing God, or that is being blasphemed. But since we cannot discuss it now, we shall get its own time and we talk about it. Our interest will be on beer or bear today, but let's first have some readings today. Let's have some readings. And we are going to get readings, key Bible verses. We are starting from Daniel chapter 2, from verses 31 up to 39. It reads, and you are seeing it on our screen. It is reading as, "Thou, O king, sawest and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of a fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of the brass." Verse 33, his legs of the iron, and his feet part of the iron and part of the clay. Verses 34, "Thou sawest that stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of the iron, clay, and break them to pieces." That is verse 34. Then when we extend down, this is the dream. So this is Daniel explaining the dream to King Nebuchadnezzar. It goes like this. This is the dream, and we will tell you the interpretation thereof before the king. Verses 37 reads, "Thou, O king, art a king of the kings, for the God of the heaven has given thee a kingdom, power and strength, and glory." Verses 38, "And where also the children of the men dwell, the beasts of the field and the flowers of the heaven has he given into thine hand, and has made thee ruler of them all. Thou this head of gold, thou art this head of gold." This is King James Version part. It is saying that the head of gold is you. That's what it is meaning. Then in verses 39, "And after thee shall rise another kingdom inferior to thee. And after you there will rise another kingdom which is inferior unto you." So literally meaning that this inferior kingdom they are meaning, it is that of Medo-Persia. Why is it that they are calling it inferior? If you go back to the history of the nation, you find that king of Babylon, or Nebuchadnezzar by then, he was among of the richest kings that we have ever found in the history of the Bible. That's why they are calling him a great. Otherwise, it was not a great in mighty or in power, because if it was so, his kingdom wouldn't have been taken by Medo-Persia. But being a great, it was a rich, it was a wealth they were referring to here. So that after you, there will come another kingdom which is inferior to you. And this kingdom they are talking about here, it is referring as a chest, the chest of the silver. You mark these words here. They are saying here, as we have just read these verses here, we are seeing that the head was of gold and the chest was of silver. Literally meaning that in these verses, when you read them, you find that as you well know, that gold is more expensive than silver, literally meaning that uh, this the gold is expensive than silver, so it means the king of Medo Persia was of less in wealth than that of king of Babylon. That is silver and gold. So when we go read, because we've talked all this in our preamble or in our introduction, we may not go again and explain them. But when that was chapter 2. So when we read in chapter 7, we are key Bible verses continued. Chapter 7, verse 1 to 5, as you are seeing, for those who can be able to zoom and you see verses, but the verses are there, you can see it. It is the verse is here, and you can see verse here. It is verse 1 to 5. It is reading. That is Daniel. It reads, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and vision of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Verse 2, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, and the four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. Verses 4, the first was like a lion. We saw it last time. The first was like a lion. And for those who have just watched that animation, you saw that the first was like a lion and had eagle's wing. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet of the man, and the man's heart was given to it. Verse 5, and behold another beast, second like to a bear. Mark that word, second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side. You mark that word again, one side, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus, and it rise devour much flesh. There are some three key words we are going to mark here. One is, it was like a bear. That is one. Another part of it is it raised up itself on one side. That is another. And another thing is it had three ribs on its mouth. They told it to come and devour much flesh. These are three important points that we may get from this verse we have just read. One, it was like a bear. You saw it, and it had three ribs in its mouth. As I told you, three ribs, these are the countries. That one was Libya, another one was Lydia, and another third one is Babylon. Babylon was the last country that the king of Medo-Persia colonized or captured in the year 538 or 539. But these three ribs you are seeing in a bear, they are three countries, or they are three dynasties, or they are three kingdoms, that when the Medo-Persia was coming in power, it colonized these three countries. One was Libya, Lydia, and the last kingdom that is making third rib is called the kingdom of Babylon, that it captured from a younger man called Belshazzar. You read in chapter 5 of Daniel. You read it last time. So, and it was led by a man called Darius, who was having 62 years of age. We saw it last time. So now this is chapter 7. We have seen that it is a bear, And this bear, it had 3 ribs. We said that 3 ribs, these are the countries already colonized. And it was having one-sided, should I call it a shoulder? I don't know if they can call it a shoulder, but it was raised up its one side. So it was, let me call it a shoulder like this. So it was, its shoulder was rising like this. So literally, I mean that these are 2 kings still. These are the 2 kings. And these 2 kings, we said that it is he was Cyrus and Darius. So being raised one side, it means King Cyrus was of the more powerful than King Darius. That is being raised one side. So when it is raised one side, it means this one that is up, it is more dominant, it is more powerful than the other one that is down. So it literally means that the Cyrus was of a great, or he was great compared to his counterpart, even if they were ruling together, but Darius was somehow weak compared to his friend called Cyrus. That's why being raised in one side. I think we can, okay, being to say that he was told to come and eat more. That is violent. For those who like reading, when you read in chapter 3 of, even chapter 3 and chapter 6 and chapter 3 of the same book of Daniel, you find that this Medo-Persia, these people, let me call it these countries, they could not joke. That's how strong these people are. And they say that you, O king, you just do as you know the rules or the rules or the punishment of the Medo-Persia are. So these people, if they say that you are dying, today you are dying. That's how these people are. And if the king is the one who is ruling, and maybe his son falls a victim or becomes a guilty, the president would just come and execute or kill live his son in public. So they knew that this king of Medo-Persia, they have no joking subjects. They killed many people. And the blood of the human being we are flowing like water. That's why they are calling it that they told her, you just rise up and devour many flesh. Many people, many innocent blood could flow like water in the king or in the period of this kingdom. As I said, it started in year 538. As I told you last time, in BC or before Christ, they are reading downward. So you find it ended in 331. It fell a prey in a kingdom called Greece that we shall discuss later, and it's where even we shall dwell in the book of Daniel, still chapter 8. So where we find, where we started from, we find that there was. Anyway, why don't we read there? And we read it the way it is. Next slide, it's where we see chapter 8 from verse 1. We shall jump to verse 7. Sorry, from verse 1 to 7, then we shall jump to verse 20. It reads, for those who are seeing our screen, it reads as, in the third year of reign of the king Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel. After that which appeared unto me at the first, and I saw in a vision. Let me go to verse 2. No, let me continue. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in Paras, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw in a vision, and it was by the river of Olai. Verses 3, then I lifted up mine eyes, and I saw, and I behold, there stood before the river Elam, which had 2 horns, We are reading, we started from verse 1, then we shall go to verse 7, thereafter we shall jump to verse 20. We wanted to just get a clear meaning of what we are reading here. And we are reading here that verse 3, let me repeat verse 3. Then I lifted up mine eyes, and saw, and behold. These are two English statements. I saw and behold. There is seeing and you don't mind about what you have seen, and you just skip that that scene and you go. But here they say, I saw and behold. These are two things, you consider them. I saw and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. When we started our presentation, I showed you a picture that is portraying 2 of these beasts. Should I call them beasts as well? But one is a he-goat, another one is a ram. And this ram had 2 beasts, as you saw it from the beginning. And I think we can also rewind it. We can first go back and we see it. We can first go back a bit, then we first see this ram and the goat we are talking about, where we started from when we are... Okay, now you can see this is what we are talking about exactly. Now let me read as you are seeing it. For you are watching it on the screen, and it is reads. Verse 3. Then I lifted up mine eyes, and I saw, and I behold, there stood before the river a lamb which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high. You are seeing that lamb, the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. We are still talking of a lamb that is it had 2 horns, as you are seeing, and one of the horns was higher, but the highest one came last. What does it mean still? As we said, it was co-ruled by 2 leaders. These are separate countries, but we are ruled by 2 leaders, but they are co-working together. So these horns we are seeing, still it is taking us back. I'll keep on referring back to what we've read before. In chapter 2, we are not going there now, but we already read there, that in chapter 2 of Daniel, we see that the breast of it was of the silver. But when we reach in chapter 7, we see a bear that is raised up one-sided. And we said that one-sided being raised, it was Cyrus, who was of the more powerful than Darius. So when we reach here in this part here, or in chapter 8, we see that this ram here, it had 2 horns. And these 2 horns, one was highest, and this being highest, even it came later. What does it mean? When you go back in chapter 5 of the Daniel, you find that the time when Medo-Persia was capturing the Babylon, it was, he is Darius who is mentioned there. So by that very time, the one who was great. So Cyrus is not mentioned there. So by that very time, he was great. But Cyrus came on later. So after coming in later, even he became more great than his friend who came faster than him, or who came before him. So even when we reach in chapter 8, this one we are discussing now, you find that this ram is having 2 horns, and the last horn became higher than the first. determined that it is Cyrus who even become more powerful than Darius whom we found there. That is what that ram meaning. But we shall even read its interpretation. It is down still. So I saw, verses 4, I saw the ram pushing westward. I saw the ram pushing westward. I think you can see the direction. Let's first go back a bit where we have been. Where we have been, we see the ram. Where we are seeing the ram. Okay, that is. Where we are seeing the ram, it is saying it is pushing westward. If you can see how it is being directed, it is pushing westward and northward, as you are seeing. Westward, but it is in northward, as you can see. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that it is almost as if it is standing on westward, rather on northward, but it is pushing westward and northward. If you can continue following this verse, that is just bringing a clear interpretation of how that picture is portraying on the screen. So that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but did according to his will. This is what we are saying. The king of Medo-Persia, it did according to his will. I told you it was among of the dictatorial kingdom that has ever lived. If we go to its history, we cannot even finish it today. It was a dictator. It could just kill at whatever it wishes. It could not negotiate. So that's what it is saying, that but according to his will, and became the great. And as I was considering, beheld an he-goat. As I was considering, I beheld a he-goat. You can still see it, as you can see on our screen now. As I beheld, now you are seeing it here. You can see it here. This is what Daniel is saying. This is Daniel. As he beheld, he saw a he-goat come from the west of the face of the whole earth, and it touched not the ground, and the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. You can see it. This is a he-goat Daniel is talking about, and it is having a horn, a notable horn between its eyes. You can see it. So let's see what Daniel talked about this. And behold, came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and they ran unto him in the folly of his power. Verses 7. And I saw him came closer unto the ram, and he was moved with a claw against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. This is reading. We are reading Daniel chapter is 8. We started from verse 1, but we are now on verse 7. We read that no one came to, we say that, we are reading that, and I saw him closer unto the ram, and he was moved with claw against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. For those who may just follow us, you may find that this is coming to the end of this king kingdom of Medo-Persia, if you read this one. So, as this ram was doing whatever it wishes to do, they called it he. It did whatever it wishes to do, and there was no one who would just come and deliver him from the oppression. That means it is like oppression. The king of Medo-Persia, it oppressed the people, and there was no one to come and save. But later on, this he-goat came with a lot of power, and it struck the ram down, and even it had to break these two horns. So as I told you that these two horns, one was signifying Cyrus, another was signifying Darius. So having these two horns being broken, or having been broken, it means the kingdom of Medo-Persia had come to an end. It was in the year 331 when a man called Alexander the Great, the king of the Greece, took over. That is the discussion of the next time. So this ram, but let's also understand what does this ram mean. When you read the verse 20, it says, verse 20, chapters 8, where you have been, the verse is reading. Verses 20 says, the ram which thou sawest, having two horns, are kings of Media and Persia. This is what I wanted. Verse 20. You can see it. It is verse 20 is in between the presentation. It is reading that the ram which thou sawest, having two horns, are the kings of Media and Persia. So now Bible is explaining itself. There is no more hidden thing as many people say. Bible explains itself. And verse 20 is clearly saying it that these two horns you saw, or the ram you saw, I will say that we have seen that the ram had two horns. And this ram you saw that had two horns, it is, Bible is telling us that on verses 20, having two horns are kings of Media and Persia. Verses 21, and the rough goat is the king of Gracia, or you can call it the king of Greece. This is what Bible is saying. So Bible here is clear. So don't say that I saw a goat and I saw a lamb, and again you get confused. If you read and stop from there, you cannot understand what it is saying. But verses 20 is telling us a clear, say that these two horned ram you saw, it was a king. They were kings of Media and Persia. Now it is clear. Now a rough, they call it a rough. They say a rough goat you saw, it was a king of Gracia, or you can call it a Greece. As I said, the Medo-Persia was succeeded by a man called Alexander the Great. And the next slide is giving us other continuation, the thought from the Spirit of Prophecy, for those who like reading and for those who believe in this book. And a book of education, the book is called Education. Original page is 176, paragraph 7. It is reading, every nation that has come up the stage of the action has been permitted to occupy its place on the earth, that it might be seen whether it would fulfill the purpose of the Watcher and the Holy One. Mark those words. They are in capital letter. One is Watcher and the Holy One. They are telling us that, as you can read on your screen, they are saying that every nation that has come upon the stage of the action has been permitted to occupy its place on the earth, that it might be seen whether it would fulfill the purpose of the Watcher and the Holy One. So it means any country to come in, say any country to come in on existence, it doesn't merely come. It is the will of God to see. It is a will of God to see whether this country or this nation can do the will of Him who set it up there. The presidents are not there by themselves, as we read in the book of Romans, that all power, whatever of politics or whatever it is, what it is coming from Him, or it is God Himself who puts the king and even enthrone them. God puts a kingdom, but if the king is no longer following what the one who put there bids him to do, God has the right to unenthrone that very person. That's why even the book of education is telling us, the book we call it Education 176 paragraph 7, it reads and said, every nation that has come up, every country that has come on the stage of action has been permitted to occupy its, I think you can read and you can read it clearly. It is being seen, the writing we are reading, it is being seen on the screen. And it reads, and I cannot even repeat it, you are reading it by yourself, but they're saying that the country is there, or the nation is there to occupy or to perform the work that the mighty one, they are talking of God, that has been put here. So if the country is there and it is persecuting innocent people, the blood of innocent people is flowing, the God has right to remove that person. And we know that he's the ruler of the entire universe. And even not the entire universe, he's in heaven and the earth. So God is... No, it continues reading, saying, prophecy has stressed the rise and the fall of the world's greatest empire. Now you can see how even the Bible is now wonderful. The scriptures now has come to its wonderful stage. It said that prophecy has traced the rise and the fall of the greatest empires. One, Babylon. The second, Medo-Persia. Fourth, Greece and Rome. They are four. As we said that we are dealing with the prophets of the four beasts, as you are seeing them, or as you see their names. Now the Bible prophesies about the fall of these four. When you are talking of these prophets, it is not of this thing that you are not going to America next year. That is not the prophecy they are talking about. The prophecy here is indicated in the Bible. And we are saying that the prophecy indicated the fall of these greatest empires. One is Babylon, we finished it. Medo-Persia, it's where we are now. We are discussing Medo-Persia. Greece and Rome, as you are seeing in those verses, or in that comment. With each of these, and with the nation of the less power, history repeats itself. History repeats itself. Each had its period of test. How I wish you would mark these points. Each had its period of test. Each failed. Its glory faded. Its power departed. And its place was occupied by another. I think this statement is explaining all what we are discussing here. If you can take it and read it upon yourself. They are saying, each had its power. They are meaning these empires. I told you last time, for those who were with us, that King Nebuchadnezzar, he could do whatever he wishes, to the extent where God humbled himself. Sorry, humbled Nebuchadnezzar down. For 7 years, he went and even started sharing the grasses with wild animals. After 7 years, he humbled himself down, and God brought him into his kingdom. And when you reach still in chapter 7, you find that lion that its wings were plucked off still was a man called Nebuchadnezzar, that even he was given a heart like that of a human being. Still was Nebuchadnezzar. So this is what we are reading here. This is the explanation we are reading here. They said that with each of these, as with the nation of the less power, history repeats itself. Each had its period of test. each failed. That meaning these empires, each glory faded. Now there is no Babylon of now. You cannot talk of Nebuchadnezzar now. Now we are having this, I think it is G8, these great 80 powers. We have America, we have Russia, we have China, we have, I think even you have Britain. Now these are the countries that are being talked nowadays. You cannot bring now. You cannot bring even Medo Persia. It is no longer. You cannot bring Babylon. It is now history. So they faded. And they say its power departed. The power of that kingdom departed. So the rulers are ruling. The presidents are doing what they are doing, but their time will come when there will be a history. You say, once upon a time we had a president this and this. But when the president is still sitting, he can do whatever he wishes. He can kill whomever he wants to kill, and he can save whomever he wants to save. That is his time. But the time will come when that person is no more. He's being referred in history as that once upon a time we had this president and this president. And we said that its power departed and its place was occupied by another. Whereas we start from the beginning, we said that there was a man called Nebuchadnezzar, who was almost a king of the kings. He could do whatever he could, and he could save whomever he wanted to save. But his time came, he was succeeded by his grandson, Belshazzar. Even before Belshazzar, even there came even Merodach, Nabonidus, Negigirisa, and later on the country was taken over by Medo and Persia. So Nebuchadnezzar became a history. Likewise, to this kingdom we are discussing now, the Medo-Persia, also it had its kings. We saw them from the beginning. We had Cyrus, we have Darius, we had Columbus, we had Darius, we had Artaxerxes, and we had Ahasuerus, as you can see them on our screen. All of these kings, they are history now. You say once upon a time there was a king called Ahasuerus, as even you read it in the Bible. So these kings are no longer there. But by the time they were standing, they would do whatever they would wish to do. But their time departed. But then we have seen that in that book where we have read that every nation has been put there as a test to see whether it can do a will of the one who has put it there. But if it has failed, then it is succeeded by another. When I'm talking of this, you are getting to understand that there is no person who rules forever. He rules, but the time comes, the person is either overtaken by his generals, or else maybe the election when that country is a democracy, and even if maybe it is not democracy, the person grows up and he fades, and he can die at any time. So there's no one who stands forever. And so when you read the second statement or the second paragraph on the same book, second paragraph on the same book, it reads, the crown removed from Israel passed successively to the kingdom of the Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. The crown removed from Israel passed successively to the kingdom of Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. You know, when we talk of Israel, it was a country that was ruling over. By the time of from even Moses, when he was leading these people from country of bondage, they were favored more than any other nation that stayed on the earth by that very time. They were more favored as you continue reading. But the time came when Israel refused to abide, refused to hear, refused to respect the Almighty God, and they were succeeded. When you read the book of Hosea, the Israelites were signified as a woman. They could just go, the woman the wife of the Hosea called Gomer, she would go and even get married to other husbands when even he was officially married to Hosea, and God would permit Hosea to go and bring the wife back. So it means it was signifying Israelites that you would go away from God, and the prophet of God would be bidden to go and preach them back. They come back to God. So, as we see that even we are reading that passed successively to the kingdom of Babylon, Medo-Persia, and Rome. God says, it shall be no more until he come who is right it is, and I will give it to him. That time is at hand. Today, the signs of the times declare that we are standing on the threshold of the great and solemn events. Everything in our world is in agitation. Before our eyes is fulfilling the Savior's prophecy of the events to precede his coming. You shall hear the wars and rumors of the wars. Nations shall rise against nations, and kingdoms against kingdoms, and there shall be famine, and pestilence, and earthquake in diverse places. They are quoting Matthew chapter 24 from verse 6 and 7. This was a prophet that Jesus talked about when he was on Mount Olives. That is Matthew chapter 24. He talked of the famine. The famine is now there. You cannot say that where is the famine now. We have many refugee camps. We have many people who are dying on the road because of hunger. That is no longer prophecy now, but they are being fulfilled what Jesus talked about. And we have earthquakes. For earthquakes, the one that is in history, it was the earthquake of 1755 in the country of Portugal, in a city called Lisbon. It happened in 1755. That was a remarkable earthquake that has ever happened in Earth's history. Others are simply just coming, but that was a remarkable one. To the extent where even it reached in the horns of Africa, the other country of the Morocco and that are bordering there. That earthquake that Jesus talked about, it reached there. And when we go to next slide, as we are coming to the conclusion of our presentation today, the next slide is talking about EP. That book is called Eternity Past. For those who like reading, it is original page. It is 551, paragraph 2. It says, the government of Israel was a theocracy. Theocracy means it was a government that was respecting God's law, and it could do whatever it does after consulting God. That means theocracy. That is government by God directly. They have already defined it. They said that the government of Israel was a theocracy. That is government by God. That is government by God. When Israel and Judah repeatedly violated God's law, you mark those points. When Israel and Judah repeatedly violated God's law and rejected his rulership, the Lord finally withdrew from them his direct government and left them to what they desired. You hear this statement. When the Israel, and they say that Israel and Judah, when they are no longer following God's directive, God withdrew his government from them, and God gave it to whomever he desired. If you can mark it. So God has authority to give the leadership of the country to another leader, whomever God wishes. So, but it was after the rejection of God's will upon themselves when God withdrew his leadership from them. Now, whom did he give it to? Subjection to man. Thus they came under the successive domination of Babylon, Medo-Persia, the Greek Empire, and finally to Rome. So God withdrew his power from Israelites and Judah and gave it to these four empires. One is Babylon, the second one is Medo-Persia, the third one is Greek, and the fourth one is Rome, the final one. That's why we are dealing with the four beasts. But the four beasts, we saw them that the four beasts signifies the four kingdoms. And when this kingdom failed to do whatever God wanted them to do, he withdrew them also. That's why even we see they are succeeding each other. So if you call yourself the church of God, maybe the pastor, and you don't do whatever God wishes you to do, then God has right to choose another class that can even respect him. They say God doesn't respect any person. God is God. So if you set yourself high and you don't abide to his will, then God can put you down and raise another person. That's why we are seeing here the kingdoms succeeded each other. And they say, since then, there has been no government anywhere to which God has delegated the authority that he gave to the king of Israel in the days of the theocracy. But still, since then, there has been no government anywhere to which God has delegated authority that he gave to the kings of Israel in the days of the theocracy. The Bible teaches the separation of church and state. This is an important point. The Bible stresses there is no amalgamation, if I can use that in English. There is no coming together. There is no concord. There is no unity between church and the state. When there is a unity between the church and the state, then there is a problem there. But now we are having countries that are headed by the church leaders. That is Rome. Its capital city is Vatican, that is headed by Pope. His country, again, the Pope is the one who is heading the entire Catholic. We may not go deep in it, we shall have its own time. But here God is saying that since then, the Bible teaches the separation of the church and the state. These are two distinct arms. The church and the state, they should be different. But when there is coming together of this between the two, then there is a problem. And they have quoted Matthew chapter 22, verse 17 up to 22. And therefore the religious liberty for all. Earthly governments may not force the conscience or usurp the praise reserved to God alone in the theocracy of Israel. So it means where there is a theocracy, where there is rule of government, where there is rule of God, the leaders cannot force the conscience of the person. As I'm coming to the conclusion, forcing the conscience of the person is where you force people to come, not even forcing them to come and ask you for forgiveness, but they feel that those are the teaching that they get, which is wrong. And I have concluded, and let me read one paragraph as I conclude. And for those who like reading, you'll read Book of Esther, chapter 3, verse is 6. For those who, we may not go there because of interest of time, but Esther book chapter is 3, verse is 6. But where we are concluding from is a book called the PK 523. It's where we are concluding from. It is 523 paragraph 1. So we have concluded from. It was not long before the reverse came. Babylon was besieged by Cyrus, nephew of Darius the Mede, and the commanding general of the combined armies of the Medes and Persians. But within the seemingly impregnable fortress, with its massive walls and gates of the brass protected by the river Euphrates and stocked with the provision in abundance, the victorious monarchy felt safe and passed in time in myth and revelry. We've just come to see that within a short period of time, the kingdom of Babylon was besieged by the Cyrus, and who was the nephew of Darius, and commanded the general of the Medo-Persia. They took over the kingdom of Babylon. However much it was its fortress or its boundaries, or it was highly fenced, but when the will of God has come in, nothing can stop it. So finally in year 331, it's when the Alexander the Great took over the kingdom of Medo-Persia. We have concluded, and we have been seeing how these kingdoms succeeded each other. And today we have finished even our presentation concerning Medo-Persia, that is in chapter 8, that is signifying the ram and the goat, and chapter 7 it is the bear, and chapter 2 it was a chest. So in that very year came to an end. And as we said, that the God can give that kingdom to whoever he wishes, if that very person is considering the will of God. So we wish each and every one a blessing from God, and even a heart of searching to see what God may need from you, because you are here for a purpose. We are not simply here to eat and drink and we die for tomorrow. No, there is a purpose for everyone that the person is still breathing. So now it's up to you to see how you are using the life the God has given you, not for merrymaking and whatsoever, but you know that there is a purpose, that why you are still on the earth. We wish a blessing from God to whoever has been watching us from where we started. It has somehow been lengthy, and at least we wanted to explain each and everything for under this kingdom so that we can finish it. So we wish that we wish and we invite at the same time for those who haven't subscribed to subscribe, and you like our presentation. There are more that are coming, not only of this type, but also that also are of health concern, family issues, and whatsoever. Even health reform, we are learning more and more. May God bless each and everyone who has given his or her time to watch us. Thank you very much. Let's humble ourselves for the word of prayer. Our mighty King in heaven, we do appreciate you for giving us this chance once again. From the time we started our presentation, we have just come to its conclusion. When we are still alive, let your name be glorified. We are not worthy to call up your name. We are sinners like anyone else. We need the Holy Spirit to come and guide us in each and everything, so that it prepares us for your second coming. And when you happen to come, you find that we are ready to meet you, we shall glorify your name. Bless each and everyone who has given his or her time to watch us, and give the person the proper preparation that can meet your second coming. We are diverting from different destinations. Bless each and every one. And above all, bless those who have subscribed, for those who have liked, and for those who have commented. And be with each and every one. This has been our humble prayer. In Jesus' name we've prayed. Amen.
Have you been to Jesus for the cleansing power? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you fully trusting in his grace this hour? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you washed in the blood? In the blood, in the soul cleansing blood of the Lamb. Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you walking daily by the Savior's Are you